So aides to President Joe Biden have been questioned by federal authorities over the classified documents that have been found at multiple locations at this point. The documents containing U.S. national security intel on Ukraine, Iran, even the UK.
Former National Safety Council Chief of Staff and America First Policy Institute Senior Fellow Fred Fleitz. Fred, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Fred, let's jump right in. Listen, how significant of a security risk do the Biden documents pose, to not just America, but also our allies?
Well, look, let's be clear. Deliberately mishandling classified information is a felony. Now, many critics of Biden are wondering, where's the FBI raid? There's a double standard here. We need to think about this in a different way. Biden's home and office are crime scenes. We have this continuous revelation of discoveries of classified information almost every day. These crime scenes should be sealed, and they should be searched by the FBI, not by Biden's attorneys who do not have security clearances. Information being handled this carelessly easily could have been seen accidentally by somebody not authorized to see it. And look, we know there's Ukraine secrets here. Yeah. Why was Biden bringing top secret Ukraine information with him after he left office, given that his son had this corrupt business dealing with Burisma, the Ukrainian energy company? There's a lot to be looked into here.
Yeah, and Joe Biden's on the record talking about firing a process.
And Ukraine just keeps coming up, Carl.
Right, it does, and the problem is it was used as a conduit for a lot of things, and it's unfortunate because now they're fighting this war, and we're trying to give them arms, but they have some private shady business deals going on the side. But Fred, the big thing here is 18 U.S. Code 1924 is a direct liability clause. There's no intent in there. So if you're the lawyer. So if you do this, it's not well, I didn't mean to. It's you're still liable whether you meant to or not because this is direct liability. How is he using I don't know?
Well, I was executive secretary of the National Security Council, and I work with the National Archive on protecting and saving classified and government records that aren't classified. If you work in the executive branch of the president, everything you work with is a government record. You're not allowed to send boxloads of information to your home and office to use later. Everyone knows that. This was a deliberate effort by Biden and his staff to illegally remove documents, classified or not, for Biden's use after he left office. This wasn't an accident.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely not an accident, but let's just be clear. Let's dial back. Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State. She wasn't president. She wasn't vice president. Nope. She got a pass. And what did Comey come out and say? Well, she didn't intend. And as you were saying, this is strict liability. You don't need intent. It's a joke. And I think the American people are starting to catch on. But I want to shift gears just a little bit, Fred. Iran is reportedly sending warships to the Panama Canal. Now, in my opinion, that's definitely something we need to be watching. But how big a national security threat is the idea of Iranian ships, over in that canal in the Pacific Ocean?
I'm concerned about that if it really happens. We know that Iran's Navy does not have many capabilities. It will be very difficult for Iran to send warships that far away and maintain them. But if Panama is going to collaborate with Iran and allow this to happen and maybe allow Iranian ships to use those ports, that's a real problem. And I think if there's a possibility of that happening, Anthony Blinken should be in Panama tomorrow, should have already been there, to make it clear that this is not something we're going to tolerate. This threatens the neutrality of the Panama Canal. It threatens our relationship with Panama and that treaty, and I hope the administration is taking it seriously.
Yeah, Fred, I want to get to, before I get to our own military and how we feel internally, I want to talk about the fact that, in this, China is building a naval base in the Atlantic Ocean in Africa, off the coast of Africa. They've got the South China Sea, they're building islands, but now they're trading oil with Russia, not in U.S. dollars, but in, their currency or the ruble and things like that, taking away 30% of exchanges between, 30% of the market was previously exchanged in the U.S. dollar, which is now being traded in a different currency. How much of a financial threat is this to the United States of America and our ability to print money going forward?
What you said is right, but it's worse than that. China's trying to get an agreement with Saudi Arabia, so Saudi oil transactions to China will be transacted in Chinese currency, not U.S. dollars. That has not happened yet, but the Chinese and the Saudis are moving in that direction. And the main reason they're moving there is because Biden has mishandled the U.S.-Saudi relationship so badly. I published an article in Newsmax recently you can check out on this. It will have a real effect on our economy. It will have a real effect on American political and economic power. Fortunately, most nations do not want to trade with China in Chinese currency because they don't trust China and its economy. But China's trying to move in that direction.
You know, Fred, we keep talking about China. I have to ask you this. Do you think the American people really have any idea what that overall threat is? Because the threat is not just military, it's economic, but it's so complex. Do you think that our media covers it enough? And do the American people really understand the threat that comes from China? Because I think it's without a doubt the #1 threat. Maybe not right now as Russia's threatening nukes in Ukraine, but overall, I think it's America's biggest threat. And I don't think the American people really see it.
It's pretty clear that the Biden administration has no concept of the threat from China. Maybe it's been compromised by these huge payments to the Biden family. But, you know, I was really pleased to see that when the new Republican House started this new special committee on China, there was substantial Democrat support. So maybe the tide is turning, even in the Democratic Party, to focus on the threat from China.
I think they have to at some point. And this is on the backs of 68% of our own military thinks we are internally overly politicized, and it's crazy. Fred Fleitz, appreciate being here, sir.